Hey everyone, and welcome to the IR4 podcast. It's me, Jeremy Alexander Newsome, 50% of the brains, creating the waves here for one of the best cryptocurrency podcasts that you might stumble upon. If you ever get a chance, hop over and click this link to become a patron, support other patrons from around the globe, and let's continue growing and learning about blockchain technology, the Internet of Things, nanotechnology, cryptocurrencies, quantum computing, 3D printing, and artificial intelligence. All of that is all possibility. Let's hop into crypto space, aka digital assets, and we're going to talk about Ethereum. So Ethereum here, we have certainly a double top or higher low on the charts here, and that's a really big deal. Now the good news is we've already had a massive correction. So we're going from 1400 to 700 relatively. That's a 50% sell-off, my friends. 50%. 50%. Now the good news is we did pull back to a very obvious support level. Old support over here, also bouncing off the 100 simple moving average, coming in very close contact with the same quick flash sell-off we had in December. Pretty much just in this range for a while. So my expectations from here, this is and was a very big neckline from that double top, right? It broke down, it retested, traded back down. And so from here, more than likely, we're going to get another low, possibly and potentially. It would make a lot of sense. And we start to kind of start chopping around and accumulating down there and then eventually breaking higher March or April. That would make the most sense to me from a technical analysis standpoint. Obviously, we don't have to do that. But what's happening is we're experiencing this resistance from, again, back here in December. Very big resistance we broke out of. And that's kind of where we're pausing right about now. So if in theory we don't trade back down and create a whole new low or relative low, then we'll hang out in this general range for the next few days and then hopefully break higher. And again, that would be fantastic. But it just makes a lot of sense from a weekly perspective that we'll probably chop around here for a bit. You got a nice indecision candle, nice low. You'll see that we have bounced off the 50 EMA on the weekly before on Ethereum back here in June. And really, this market has only been open on Coinbase Exchange since June of 2016. So we're coming up on 2 years, or a year and a half right now, it'll be 2 years soon. So again, this is just a lot of data. I'm sorry, not a lot of data. And in this particular realm, I could like to see us start to base out and create this support around 400 or 500 with this big breakout back in December. November timeframe, and as we keep chilling, eventually we do go higher, but it's just going to take a little bit of time on Ethereum to kind of start basing out. Big Daddy Bitcoin, BTC USD, obviously also did trade down to the 50 EMA on the weekly chart. Now you'll notice we haven't gotten down there in a very long time. I mean, I could stretch this chart out here and you'll see that we haven't ever hit the 50 EMA on the weekly. We got close back in August 2016, but we've never actually hit it until just the other day. 6,700 and some change on Bitcoin's where we pulled down to. Again, this is the weekly chart. Here's the daily, and the daily time frame. We did actually break the 200, which was a pretty big deal, and things got gnarly there for a little bit. And this, back on the 6th of February, is when the congressional statements and hearings were coming out. And this is when we posted this particular video right here, which I think you guys will really like. In fact, I mean, during that, if you just bought Bitcoin after that day, you're up about 600 points. So that was nice. Big deal that we broke above the 200. Big deal on Bitcoin. And we are making a higher high and higher low today. You have a good little pop in volume right there yesterday. So that's good. I think on Bitcoin, Ethereum looks a little weaker than Bitcoin does. But again, you can still see Bitcoin with this very nice lower high right here. And it did have a very pretty triangle pattern, which it broke out, it retested, it held the 100, and then it was over. It broke for low there. This was a strong candle back on the 31st of January, and once that broke, came down to the 200. Beautiful bounce off the 200. That was good for some quick trades right there. Broke it, and now we're kind of retesting. So anyway, very similar on this chart as well. I'm looking for Bitcoin to kind of hold this price down here. Probably trade up, come back down, chop around for a little bit, get kind of boring. So I think the market could get boring for a while, and then no one starts caring about it, no one talks about it, it's not exciting anymore, and then we slowly keep creeping higher towards the middle of the year. Would be my possibility, my theory anyway, as regards to the technical approach for what this does. And again, you got this nice trend line right here, which will be a big deal when we run into that. And then that'll likely continue to cause us to chop around. And of course, things can get really exciting and bullish from here, but only time will tell. Litecoin LTC USD. Litecoin has been chopping around beautifully between this 200 and 100 simple moving average. I mean, if we're doing math here for my traders, if you bought Litecoin, I mean, look at this very obvious spike, right? Down in December, you got a very beautiful location to buy again there in early January. That went from 145 to 200 and some change. I mean, that's a 40%, 50% growth right there on your coin if you got out at this obvious old support, new resistance, right? So if you bought and sold, and if you did again right here, you either got stopped out or you held on to your position, bought more at the 200, sold it at the 100 for a 50% gain, and then you did it again just 4 days later. 4 days later, another 50% return. I mean, that's massive. Huge. In fact, I mean, I'm sure that there's no one out there that could have predicted this really quick move and this chop around and this bounce around here onto 200, unless, of course, it's someone with over a decade of experience of charting, and they came up with this about a month ago, thoughts on Litecoin from here, where it literally stipulates that we would come down and bounce off the 200 simple around late January, early February, and I must say that is pretty close, my friends, pretty close to the exact day. I mean, this was a freehand drawing, so it kind of gives you that idea and that stipulation that we would at least come down there and bounce, which we have. Again, some good trading opportunities in that particular range. And you can see with this red line on Litecoin, this is that down trend. So if we're going to be breaking out of here, it needs to happen soon. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of keep chopping and trading pretty sideways on Litecoin. And I'll just kind of scroll through some of the rest. Here's Ripple, XRP, USD. And I'll go look at that on the Kraken exchange. That's actually up, so Ripple's had some good spikes, mostly because Bitcoin's kind of popping a little bit higher, and some of the other coins are getting some love right now. Ripple almost making it down to the 200, nice little pop. Still has a long way to go to kind of recover from where it was, but again, this is almost a 100%. This is almost doubling in value. I mean, it was a double in value, actually, from the low as 56 cents to a dollar. Right about $1.20. So that's doubling. It's a 100% return if you just timed it right and kind of bought at a low level, right? Buy low, sell high. I forget the exact person who said that or when, but it seems pretty common throughout most investing spaces. Here is Bitcoin Stellar Lumens. I always type it in wrong. XLMXBT. And this is also on Kraken, and Stellar been holding up pretty strongly through this sell-off, if I do say so myself, and I do because I just did. Here's this old resistance back in here. This has been acting as a good support, and also you kind of have one over here. So what's experiencing right now on a lot of the altcoins is a consolidation effect where we're just chopping and grinding, where eventually, again, likely they'll start pressing a little bit higher. That's really what we see in a lot of the EOS coins, which I have a pretty good position in. EOS XBT. So here's the EOS Kraken, and this one, if I zoom in a little bit, so I bought back in pretty good portion. Where was it? Right around here somewhere. And so yeah, at this particular point in time, I mean, you have a nice base of higher lows. You do have some lower highs, right? The 100 slowly creeping up, but these haven't sold off nearly as much as the other coins. And as Bitcoin grows in value, right, XBT, the other alternate coin would also have to grow equally as strong. Otherwise, the currency pair will go lower, because here's EOS dollar. And you can see that trade down to the 100 and bounce, but it's also pulling back a little bit today. So I do like the bounce off the 100. Pretty good safe spot to buy, I would imagine. And this looks nice, some good consolidation. Again, we probably have a little bit of selling potentially over the next week or two as we just kind of chop around on most of these coins. And then eventually, I do think we go higher. It's just a little bit of a grind, a little bit of a chop from here going forward. The good news is this is certainly the time to start learning more about the crypto space as things are low. Exchanges are starting to scale up their engines a little bit more. Binance was down the other day, kind of rebooting. Kraken, they did it not too long ago. Overall, my thought process on this is good time to start learning wave structure, charting, patterns, figuring out exactly when and where and why you want to get in on these things, and just start doing a little bit of homework, because it is a saucy time. Dash Bitcoin trading in a beautiful sideways channel. Looks like it's about to slowly pop a little bit, and of course Dash US dollar over here on Kraken. It's down a little bit today, but this one came all the way down to the 200. Huge move. I mean, that is 1,500 to 400. That's just massive percent. But it still looks strong off the 200. I'm glad the market kind of cratered there for a little bit. It needed to happen. It's going to allow a lot of the noobs to be scared, a lot of people to lose interest. And while it's down here for another month or two, more than likely, that's when most of the professionals will start slowly accumulating their positions. And I think towards the end of the year, all this stuff starts speeding up. But of course, you're welcome to subscribe to our IR4 podcast, and I will make sure to keep you guys posted every single week with some coin updates. So, ladies and gentlemen, until then, remember, love, live, learn. You are absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for watching this update, and we will see you next week.